Hey guys, in this video I'll be showing you how I brought Bradford City from League 2 to the Premier League in just 3 seasons. So that means back to back promotions to the highest level of English football. I made this happen by choosing a tactic which is known to work in Football Manager and also making signings based on data. If you're curious how you can start making signings based on data, go ahead and click the link in the description. It will lead you to a video where I explain how you can start using Excel and to make signings based on data. There's also a link to a video where I explain how you can find the best tactics in Football Manager for you to use if you're not willing to make your own. Without any further ado, enjoy watching Bradford City become a Premier League club in just 3 years. In this series, I have set myself the challenge to not buy any players who are over the age of 24. With that out of the way, let me share with you the story of Jake Jacobson, the manager that we're going to be playing. Jake is an ex-pro, always been a Bradford City fan, but never really was able to play for them. Now he's retired and Bradford was looking for a manager and they decided to take him on board. The main goal for Jake is to bring Bradford back to their former glory. They have won one FA Cup in their history and that is the goal for this series. We're not gonna stop before Bradford City has won the FA Cup once again. Let's take a look how Bradford City is looking. So as you can see, 2-star reputation club. We are predicted to finish in 5th in the Skybet League 2. We have an insanely big stadium built in 1886, so one of the oldest ones in all of the leagues. Finance wise, okay, not a lot of money to spend, and of course our biggest rivals are Leeds. As for past titles, you can see here that Bradford City has already won the FA Cup once, and we are going to be aiming to do it again. This is the tactic that our coaching staff recommends to us, and as you can see, we have some loans, we have some players loaned out as well, and they want us to play with 5 in the back. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing that. Then as for the plans, the club vision, we need to be competitive in the FA Cup. They want to record a top half finish and eventually also promote to the League 1. That would be a very nice goal, and they expect us in the 27-28 season to be an established League 1 team, but of course we are aiming to go even higher than that. As for the supporters culture, they want us to reach the League 2 playoffs, which I think should be feasible in the first season, but we're just going to have to see if it's possible at all. Let's take a look at the players that are currently in Bradford City. So as you can see, when we filter on ability, we do have a very good mix. All players are very close to each other when it comes to their current ability. And as you can see, a very promising striker as well here, Callum Kavanagh, which looks very impressive indeed. Then Jake Young, one of our best players, also a striker. He looks okay, as you can see, he's not the best, but I think there's some more gems in here as well. We did also loan some players in, and for example, Alex Patterson really isn't bad for a League 2 level. So looking very good. Almost only English or United Kingdom players. One Kenyan player, one player from the USA, so it looks very good. Of course also some youngsters in here which don't really look a lot promising, and the only players that look like very promising are these 3, with one of them not even being a player from us. But I already showed you Callum Kavanagh. Let's also take a look at Lewis Richards, and as you can see, very good player on the left back. If we give him some playing time, he could improve already a lot. Of course, he's not going to be a world beater, but he's going to be good enough for definitely League 2, League 1, and maybe even possibly the Championship. Well, we've got a lot of good players here, but let's take a look what kind of tactic we want to use with all of these players. Hey, 93.5% of you are not subscribed to my channel yet. Please do consider subscribing, as it really helps me out a ton and it keeps me motivated to make more awesome content. With that out of the way, let's move on to the video. On the website I usually use, I have found a couple of tactics which I thought would be interesting to try in this save. If you have no interest in creating your own tactics and just want to use the tactics that are good, go ahead and click the link in the description. It will lead you to a video where I show you how you can find the best tactics and how also you can import them into your Football Manager save. So on that website I have found 3 tactics. One of them is a 4-2-1-3 with a lot of attacking power. Not sure if I'm going to be using this one. Second one is one I always use and which I really like, a 4-2-3-1. I'm probably not gonna use this one either because I found one which isn't going to be very good, but I do like it. It's a 3-3-2-2, well basically a 5-1-2-2. Very much emphasis on defending and not really on attacking, so I hope we'll get a very solid defense going and just hope that our attackers are able to score enough so we can promote into League 1 this season. So this is going to be the primary tactic, and the 4-2-3-1 is going to be the backup in case it's really not working out. Like I said before, we are playing this career mode based on data. So what does that mean? Now that we've selected our tactic, I'm going to take all the attributes and the numbers of the players and I'm going to put them into the Excel, and the Excel will calculate for me which player is the best in each position. Based on that information, we can decide which players we want to keep, which players we want to move on, and which players we want to bring into our team. Anyway, first things first, let's load in this data into the Excel and decide which players are going to play in which position. When we put the data into the Excel sheet, you'll get something like this. And right here, you see the players, their ages and more information about them, and also how good they are on a scale from 1 to 20 in each role. If there are 20, it means that all the attributes they need for that role, there are 20 in Football Manager, and if they're a 1, then all the attributes they need for that position are a 1. If you also want to start playing Football Manager based on data like this and always make signings where players have a better rating than the players you currently already have, go ahead and click the link in the description and it will lead you to another video where I explain how you can start playing Football Manager based on data. So let me quickly show you how this works. We have now sorted on sweeper, keeper, defend, and a couple of players have come up. So as you can see, with a 10.3, Sam Walker is the best, so we're going to be filling him as the goalkeeper, and Heath Richardson is going to be our backup goalkeeper. Then why is Alex Pedersen so good in goalkeeping? Probably because the stats that are needed, such as physical stats, Alex Pedersen does have those, so maybe he's very tall or maybe he does have very high jumping reach. Anyway, what I'll be doing now is I'll be filling in the whole team, seeing who will be our starting players, who will be our reserves, who can leave the club, and also which youngsters still need to be trained a lot more. I will be back to you in a blip. And after everything is filled in, this is what it looks like. So as you can see, all the roles are in here, which is very good to see. Then also I have selected all the players who are out on loan because we can't use them, and also the ones that we want to sell on. As you can see, a 34-year-old, a 37-year-old and a 23-year-old. And why do I want to move them on? Because they just aren't good enough. As you can see, I could use Kevin McDonald here as a backup defensive midfielder, but I've still got Richie Smallwood, who is only 32 years old, and he's a lot better. So this is how it looks like in the Excel sheet, and let me now quickly show you how it looks like in FM. This is what it looks like in Football Manager 24. As you can see, all the players that I've just selected in the Excel sheet on their positions have now gotten the positions. I have also put in everyone on the development that I want them to play, because as you can see, Alex Gilead isn't really able to play left back, but his stats do say that he could play left wing back. So that would be very nice if we just retrain him to play on that position, and if he becomes capable, he'll perform very good for us in that position. Bradford City have been demoted to League 2 in 2018-2019, and last season they finished in 6th. If we go ahead and we check the League 2 again now, you will see that we are expected to come in 9th, but of course we're going to try to do a lot better. For that we might be able and we might need to bring in some more players. However, we don't really have a lot of transfer budget, so we're going to need to bring in some free transfers or pay some very low fees. Because we set the challenge to ourselves to not buy any players over the age of 24, there aren't going to be a lot of options for us to get into this first season, but we are going to try nonetheless to make our team a little bit better. Next to the Sky Bet League 2, we are also in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, the Carabao Cup and the English FA Cup. In the Carabao Cup we have to play Notts County, who are also in the League 2, so it could be very much possible that we beat them and go through. Anyway, what I'll be doing now is I'll be simming a little bit more forward. I'll be making some signings, and in the next episode I'll be showing you what kind of signings we made and with what team we are going into our first season of the Sky Bet League 2. Hey guys, and welcome back to the second episode of this Bradford Road to Glory series, where we're trying to take Bradford back to the former glory and win the FA Cup. Anyway, we're playing this series fully based on data, which means that all signings we're going to make and the decision which player gets to play on which position are all made based on data and Excel. If you want to know how I do it, go ahead and watch the link in the description. It will lead you to the video where I explain how you can also start playing Football Manager based on data. In this episode we go through the whole first transfer window. We're going to try to sign a couple of players, and I'll also take you through how I set up my Football Manager save when I start something new. Usually the first thing I do when I start a new save is I go to staff and responsibilities, and here you can decide what kind of tasks your backroom staff has to do and which ones you want to do yourself. If you then go to match right here and you see lead friendly matches for Bradford City, I always delegate this and confirm it so it's saved, because I really don't want to be bothered with the friendly matches. It's just preference. If you want to see how your team is performing in those friendly matches, then please don't change this, but I really don't like it. The next thing I usually do is I go to schedule, and then you'll see a couple of friendly matches scheduled right here. I usually cancel all of them since they're usually either neutral or away, and if they're at home you don't get a lot of money from them, but when you schedule them yourself and you make sure that you play at home, you can earn some money from them. So let me just set an example right here. We're going to click on multiple friendly matches. We're going to select all the Saturdays from now on, and then right here you can select which teams you want to invite. So as you can see, it will cost us 200k to invite Huddersfield to play on that Saturday, but it will give us an income of 320k. Which means that we're earning 120k just from this match alone. If we then go ahead and we keep selecting big teams such as Oldham, right here Derby, and right here also a larger reputation team in, let's see, Bournemouth. As you can see, with all of these we're paying 400,000 euros, but we're gaining 650, which is an instant profit of 250,000 euros. And since our overall balance is only 1.26 million, it means that because we are getting this money in, we're getting also 250,000 more overall balance. What we could still do is go to arrange friendly and even arrange more friendlies, but I think all of these are more than enough. I might still put one here, just because it would be nice for my backup team to also get playing. So we will invite once again Everton to play for us, and we will make another 50k from that. So as you can see, all the away games are gone and we have replaced them with home games, which will give us a lot more income, which internally we can use hopefully this season in January or next season to bring in a lot more players. The third thing on the list is that I usually take a look at my coaching staff to see if we could still improve a little bit. And as you can see, we can still look for a sports scientist, a recruitment analyst, because I don't want a director of football or a technical director, and also another coach. After me signing, the club looks like this. I've signed another coach, another recruitment analyst, and a sports scientist. We're now middle of the pack in the Sky Bet League 2, and hopefully throughout the season we can keep updating our stuff, and also of course when the contracts of our stuff run out, I'll be evaluating once again if we want to keep them or if we want to get some better staff members in. After that, I take a look at my scouting and how I want to do it. I usually create a couple of recruitment focuses, and for this series I'm doing something different. So I have made 4 recruitment focuses, one for 21 to 24 for the main players in the team, one for youngsters from 15 to 18, so really looking for the cheap wonder kids, then one for the youth for 18 to 21 who have a lot of potential, and lastly okay youngsters from 15 to 24, and as you can see the minimum current ability should be 2 stars, let's make it, and the minimum potential can only be 2.5, because we will need to get a lot of these players in to make sure that we never sign someone over the age of 24. As for the season tickets, we've sold 12,000, which is absolutely insane. We're expecting to sell about 14,000, and if we take a look at the finances, if you go to income right here, you'll see that for the season tickets this season alone we already got 2.6 million, which is absolutely insane. It will really make sure that we can spend enough on wages to bring in some very good players. As we're simming through the days, you'll see that one of our players has actually been nominated to get the top scorer award, Andy Cook, who I think isn't even our starting striker, but this guy has 17 strength with 16 heading, so for sure if the ball goes high with his 189 centimeters he is going to be a very real aerial threat. And as for the top player odds, none of our players are actually in there, and look how many Wrexham players are in here. It's unbelievable how actually good all of these Wrexham players are, of course being taken over by Ryan Reynolds. As for the season tickets, 15,000 tickets sold, which is absolutely insane for a League 2 side. I think we are way above the rest of the league. Alright, the collective bonuses can be decided. I am going to put them on low, because as you can see, if we don't put them on low we only have 30k. If we do put them on low we'll have 300k. So I'm gonna put them on low. I know the team won't like it, but at least I can bring in some players who can hopefully get us some promotion in this first season, or at least get us very close. Earlier in this episode I showed you that scheduling some friendly games will give you a lot more income, and as you can see we have scheduled 7 and we already played 2 games, one for the league and one for the Carabao Cup. And let me just show you what kind of income that gave us. As you can see here, for gates receipts and for matchday income we have already earned almost 1.2 mil. So just by scheduling those 6 matches we have already earned 1 million, and that 1 million is going to help us next season to get a bigger transfer budget, to get a bigger wage budget, and to be able to attract a lot better players. 1st of September 2023, which means that we have concluded the first ever transfer window in this save. We still have 230k left and also 5k in the wage budget. I didn't spend it all because the players I wanted to bring in either didn't want to join or just joined our club, or we just didn't have enough money to bring in some quality players. I did however let some players leave the club and I brought some in, and let's first start with the loanies that I have gotten out of the club. Because the 3 loanies that we had in our club, Jonathan Tomkin who was earning 5k a week, Tyrek Wright who was earning 4k, and I think Daniel Oyegoke was earning about 2k, so in total that's 10k of wages, and with those wages hopefully we'll be able to bring in some better players in January. And to be honest, all of these loanies weren't going to make it because based on data they were not good enough to even be backups. Other than that we had 2 players leaving the club, first of which Kevin McDonald, a backup defensive midfielder, wasn't going to get any playing time because he's just old and I really didn't want to play him anymore. Bad physicals as well, mentally still okay, but I had a better option, and I also brought in a backup for that DM role once again. The second player who left the club left on a loan, so temporarily, to Bromley, who are playing in the Venerable National League, I do believe, has a lot of potential, wasn't gonna get any playing time, so hopefully he can get some playing time at Bromley and then come back even better. Then on to the players who we did bring in. Carl Taylor as a backup inside forward because we needed him, and that's where we're retraining him as well. Brought him for 56k from Exeter from League 1. He wasn't gonna get any playing time there, so I might as well have brought him in. He's on 1k a week, which is absolutely nothing, and based on data, this guy is actually not too bad. So welcome, Carl Taylor. Then after Carl Taylor, our second most expensive signing, Gene Kennedy. Brought him in for I think 125k with some installments. This guy is going to be our backup defensive midfielder. Mentally okay, physically could still improve, but what I love about this guy is his driven mentality. Also his 19 determination really works wonders, and currently Smallwood is playing in the defensive midfield position. He's 32 years old, so I kinda wanna get Gene Kennedy some playing time through the season, and hopefully he will improve very nicely. And our last but not least signing, Sam Sharing. Brought him in for 160k from Northampton. Very happy with this signing. This guy is quality, well-rounded physicals, mentals and technicals. If I could have found more quality signings like Sam Sharing, I really would have brought them in, but there just wasn't anyone who was as well-rounded as him, and I think Sam Sharing could even go with us to the championship if he keeps on improving little by little. Might ask yourself how we did. We didn't do so great. We lost 4 out of 5 games which I played off camera, which isn't very good. However, do keep in mind that 2 of them were against teams who were predicted to finish above us. Against Morecambe, we did have a very bad game, and against Crewe, we should have won, but we lost in a 92nd minute. Anyway, I think our team just needs to really get familiar with the tactic, and the cohesion of the team needs to improve. Once all of that happens, we'll hopefully be able to turn it around and try for those promotion spots. However, currently that's not looking very likely, as we are in 18th position in the Sky Bet League 2. We are knocked out by the Bolton Wanderers in the Carabao Cup, but we are still in the FA Cup and in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy. That's going to be it for this episode. I'm going to be playing all of these games off camera and hopefully make some progress in the league. I'll be back on the 1st of January in the next episode to show you how we did, and also of course in the next episode we're going to be spending all of that transfer budget that we still have on some new, hopefully insane players for the future. Before I end this episode, I want to correct one mistake. Ireland is not in the United Kingdom. Sorry about that. Kinda did a little lie in the last episode, but hey, everyone makes mistakes. Hey guys, and welcome back to the 3rd episode of this Bradford Road to Glory, where we're trying to win the FA Cup with Bradford. That is our ultimate goal. In this series we're making all the signings based on data, and if you want to know how you can start playing Football Manager based on data, go ahead and click the link in the description, which will lead you to a video where I explain everything. With that out of the way, let's check how we did after the last episode. And let me tell you, it was a rough start, but we managed to turn it around so far very nicely. As you can see, last episode we did lose a lot of games, and then suddenly we started to get some more team cohesion. They started to know the tactic, and as you can see, it really started working right after this Oxford City win in the FA Cup first round. We only lost against Exeter in the FA Cup second round, and after that an unbeaten streak, as you can see, of 7 games here, which is absolutely insane, which means that in the League 2, we're currently in 9th position, and as you can see right here, we were as low as 18th, and then slowly but surely we're climbing up, and what's the most insane thing to see is we're 9th right here, but if you go to the XG table, we should be in 3rd position, so that means that actually we're just not having the luck that we need, but hopefully in the rest of the season we'll pick it up, we'll get more wins, and the XG will actually start working for us. As for the other competitions, you could see that in the English FA Cup we got knocked out by Exeter, which isn't too bad. They are a League 1 side. It was very close, but unfortunately we didn't make it, so this year no FA Cup win for us. In the Carabao Cup we got knocked out by the Bolton Wanderers, which isn't anything bad either, since they're also in League 1 and actually third in League 1, which means that they're very close to championship level, and we are not there yet anyway. However, in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy we've done very well. In the group stage we did exceptionally well, winning all the games, and then after that we have been rooted against Accrington, also in League 2, who we quite handily beat. Then now we have been rooted against Lincoln, and as you can see, we are not the only League 2 club in here. So if we manage to beat Lincoln and then draw either Morecambe Bay or Grimsby, we would be very well on our way to actually making the quarterfinals of the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, which would be very nice indeed. Anyway, that's not the main goal for this season. The main goal for the season is to get promoted to League 1 and to make sure that we get a little bit more money to make sure we can buy and get some better players into our team. This episode I will show you how I do the scouting and how I decide which player I want to get into my team based on the data sheet that I use. Throughout the episode I'll be making some signings, and when I make these signings I will revert back to the data sheet to show you what choices I made to bring a player in or to let a player go. Let's start with two players that I've actually already brought in before the transfer window started, because I thought they were very good value for money deals. Firstly, Luca Ashby Hammond. This guy, backup goalkeeper on 3.6k a week, which is quite a lot, but I hope that this guy can perform well and eventually become our first starting keeper. However, he does still need to improve a lot. Brought him in for only 10k by the way, so a very cheap deal. And then other than that, Jake Vokins, another left back, a very good left back on 2k a week, so not very expensive. Brought him in for 20k from Southampton, which is actually very nice. Physically good, technically good, mentally good for this level. However, he should still improve a little bit, but this guy is also going to be a very good player for the club, and let me show you in the datasheet where these players rank. So here we are in the datasheet, and as you can see, the two new players have been marked in blue. Of course, before I brought them to Bradford, I put their data into the Excel sheet to calculate how good they actually were, and after that I only brought them into the team. Let's start with the goalkeeper position. So right here we go to sweeper keeper, we select largest to second largest, and we see here Heath Richardson. I've actually already let him go, so we can go ahead and remove him from the sheet. And then you see that Luca Ashby Hammond is at 10.2, so he's almost as good as Sam Walker already. So what I will do for now is I will put him as goalkeeper in the rest, but if we're actually at the end of the season and we have some extra playing time for Luca, then I will play him, because he's 22 years old, he still has a lot of potential in him, and he is almost as good as Sam Walker. Then I will go ahead and make his name white in a little bit, but before that let's also take a look at Jake Vokins. So as you can see, Jake Vokins is our second best wingback in the club now, and that is very good to see. What I will do right then is I will make him the starting wingback, and that does mean that either Brett Halliday or Alex Gillihead will not be a starting wingback anymore. What I will do is I will probably make Halliday a wingback in the reserves, since he is a lot worse than Alex Gillihead. Of course, for each position you need a starter and a backup, and that's the same for the wingback position. Since Brett Holiday has now moved to the wingback in the reserves, that does mean that the other two who were previously wingbacks in the reserves we don't need anymore. That does mean that Liam Gillihalk, who you see here, will no longer be our wingback in the reserves, and he will actually be able to sell him. Of course, before I do that, I will check if he's not good enough to be a backup in, for example, the defensive midfield position or the ball playing defender position, but it sounds very unlikely that Liam Hiddegalk will actually stay in our team. Since the transfer window has started and it's the second transfer window, I could recall some players that the game already loaned out for me. I recalled Luke Henry, Timmy Odusina and Vadine Oliver, just because I could either use them or I just want to get rid of them to make sure that we have a clean team to work with for the next season. From the three players that you just saw me recall, all three of them are going to leave the club again. Luke Henry, Oliver and Timmy Odusina. Sorry, that was very hard to pronounce. Anyway, they are going to be leaving the club. Adam Wilson, Liam Ridgehalt, Matty Derbyshire and Andy Cook are still on the nomination to leave the club as well. Andy Cook is actually a very good player, but he's on almost 6k a week, and that's just way too much for a player who isn't even a starter. So I decided to sell him on. Although he's still very good for the team, I just would rather have the wage budget for him than have to waste anything on that, since he's just not getting any playing time. The transfer window has unfortunately ended and we didn't make any new sales. That is because the board decided that our finances were so bad that they had to reduce our transfer budget. For the 50k in the transfer budget that we had, we couldn't get any new players, so fortunately we're not making any more changes. However, the new player that we brought in, Vokins, already is doing very well, with 4 assists and 1 goal in 5 games in that wingback position, so very happy with him in. As well as SB Hammond, who's currently not got any playing time, but of course we're going to give that to him a lot more this season. Anyway, this is the team that is going to try to finish in the promotion spots for League 1. In the competition, we're currently still 9th with a very mixed run, losing against Colchester, who are in 1st, and also losing against Crew, who I think were in 8th, so they were a direct contender for us. We also had some more wins, so we're not doing too badly. However, we did get knocked out in the Bristol Motors Trophy by Barnsley. I'm going to be simming all the way through once again to the end of the season, and let's hope that we reach the promotion so we can play a few more games and hopefully claim that promotion to League 1. However, it's going to take a very long time for us to do that, so don't get your hopes up, but we'll try our best. I did also promise to show you how I do my scouting, and this is it. If you go to Football Manager, you have a view and you can import that view right here to the data sheet. You paste the data, then it shows you all of these values per player, per age, and how good they are in each position. You then put them in the compare tab, and right here you'll see how good some players were. So for example, if we were to be looking for a new wingback, you will see that right here we have an 11.4 on Ryan Rydell. I was going to get him in, but unfortunately at the end we didn't have enough transfer budget. He would have been our starting wingback, and why do I want to bring him in? Well, this guy, his contract was expiring, he wasn't actually that expensive, he was only 100k, and he is way better than the current wingback that we have. So that would have meant that Jake Vokins wasn't going to be playing the wingback anymore, but I think what I would have done is I would have removed Gillyhead, since he is already 27 years old, and I would have played Ryan Rydell in his place. Anyway, the same can be done once again for the ball playing defenders. I could have chosen to bring in Jordan Brown right here, but he didn't want to join because he thought that League 2, he's currently playing in League 1, he thought that League 2 wasn't a good career step for him. That is how I sign my players, and that is how I analyze which players I want to bring in and which players I want to let go of. Unfortunately, some of the players we wanted to sell on didn't actually get sold on, such as Oliver and Andy Cook, who are on a combined 10k a week, so we want to be able to make sure that we can sell them next season because they're really pressing on the wage budget. Other than that, Derbyshire and Wilson are still 2 players who I would like to leave the club because we don't really use them, and for Derbyshire it's okay because his contract is ending at the end of this season. Anyway, let me just quickly show you which players did actually leave the club. And those players were Riede Hulk, Henry and Odesina, 3 of the players that I actually loaned out at first. So Odesina left to Blackpool, Luke Henry left to Swindon, and Riede Hulk left to Southend. Very happy with these 3 leaving the club, since it makes that we have a lot cleaner squad and you actually get more overview of which players you want to be at the club. If we take a look then at the tactics, it looks something like this, with Stubbs, Sharing and Platt in the defense, Sharing our newest signing doing very well there, Walker in goal, Vokins our newest signing on the left and Gillyhead on the right. Smallwood as our defensive midfielder, but he has been injured for the past 3 to 4 months, which hasn't really helped his attributes, unfortunately. So we've been playing Kennedy a lot. I'm really happy I brought this guy in at the beginning of this season because he is getting some playing time now and he is very developing nicely. Other than that, Walker and Pedersen on the left and the right. Walker on the left, last year of his contract. Not sure if I'm going to keep him. Might let him leave and bring in someone better because he hasn't really been performing well either way. Then up top, Kavanagh and Young, very happy about these guys. They are improving a lot. Kavanagh scoring 13 goals already and Young doing very well with 5 goals, 2 assists and a very good rating. Then on the bench, Cal Taylor, who we brought in, Kelly, Ash Taylor, Kennedy, which we already mentioned, Halliday, Chapman, Tyler Smith, which I also very like, and then of course Odur as well, who was on the African Cup of Nations with Kenya. 7 caps this guy has, playing in League 2 but still playing for a national team. Very, very impressive. That's going to be it for this episode of the Bradford City rebuild. We did sign 2 players who are once again improving our team. We're going to try to reach the promotion spots for the League 1. However, it's going to be very hard to get promoted this season, but we'll try our best. Let's hope that in the next transfer window we get a bit more transfer budget to work with. Some big money players are leaving the club who have insane wages. I'm going to try my best to make sure that they leave. Anyway, if you have any challenges that you want me also to do in this series, because we're only buying players younger than 24, please leave them in the comments down below. I'll have a look at them and I can maybe use them once again in the next series, or I will introduce them into this one. Hey guys, and welcome to the 4th episode of this Bradford Road to Glory series. We are making signings based on data only in this series. The players can't be older than 24 and we're going to focus mainly on players from the United Kingdom and Ireland. In this episode we're taking a look at the first ever youth intake for Bradford City, and it's not even that bad. Other than that, we're also taking a look at the very close race for the final promotion spot, because the first 2 have already filled in and I will show you that in a bit. And third, we are taking a look at the end of the first season, see how we did, and hopefully we manage to get the promotion to League 1. Starting off with the youth intake. As you can see, it's not been that good, it's not been that bad, but we have a good intake. Some youngsters that don't really match, but I still brought them in because of their personality and some good stats. And then we have one very promising player in here, Cian Phelan. Doesn't look that good at first, but the reason he already has 1.5 stars is because his physical ability is already pretty good. 14 acceleration, 13 pace and 15 natural fitness means that this guy, if he develops well, could be a starter until we're in the Premier League, I would say, but of course for that he still has to improve a lot more. Other than that, we have Elliot Hudson, also a very good player, not as good as the previous one, but still quite okay. He does lack a little bit in the mental department and he only has 5 acceleration. Of course this guy, further than that, is pretty good with his 13 finishing, but he just needs to improve a lot more, and especially his physicals need to be a lot better if he really wants to go somewhere. Then lastly we have Andy Massey, who has mentally very good attributes already. 14 technique. Other than the 14 technique, he doesn't have a lot, so he's going to need to focus more on his technical side. Physically, 17 natural fitness, which of course is very good. And if this guy just also develops a little bit more, he could also help us, I think, until the championship, and after that this guy might fall off. But anyway, let's just see how these 3 guys might develop, and I will make sure that they get some playing time in the first team whenever I have some friendlies or some games that don't really have any meaning to them. As I said in the intro, let me show you how close it is in the League 2. We are currently in the final promotion spot, but we have the same amount of points as MK Dons, Sutton and possibly Doncaster if they win their next match. Other than that, Crewe, Wrexham, Mansfield and Wimbledon are also very close, and as you can see, there's I think 10 teams just 10 points apart, and we still have a couple of games to go. We still have 5 games to go. We're playing Gillingham, who are in 11th, Salford, who we should win easily, then Warsaw, who we should also win easily, and of course Newport. And I say should win easily, but check this out. We've lost against Forest Green and Notts County, and those were really tough losses because Notts County right here are in 22nd, and Forest Green are 22nd, and Notts County is 21st, so it wasn't really good for us, but it is going to be very close. And I just wanted to show you this because of course now I'm going to be simming to the end of the season, and let's pray to God that we don't have to play the promotion qualifiers, because the playoffs of the promotion are really tough. So let's hope that we can stay in 3rd position, reach the automatic promotion, and then that will be the end of the season, and that will be the perfect end, because going to League 1 means more transfer budget, more wage budget, so more money for us to spend on new players. And the money we really need, because our overall balance is pretty low, so we can't really afford to stay another year in League 2, and if we do, we need to let go of a lot of big earning players. So let's hope that we really can get that promotion going. Hey, 93.5% of you are not subscribed to my channel yet. Please do consider subscribing, as it really helps me out a ton and it keeps me motivated to make more awesome content. With that out of the way, let's move on to the video. Were we able to get the promotion? Let me show you. We were winning, and after that we lost. But then there was the critical game against Walsall where we got a red card, but unfortunately we did still win from a goal from Alex Patterson. Then the last game we won against Newport, but of course we lost one. But was it enough to get promoted to the League 1? Yes, it was. Look at that on goal difference. We have gone through above Doncaster. Of course Stockport and Colchester, way too powerful for this league, but we went through 19.7 points. We're promoted to League 1, and that means also more transfer budget. 35k in wage budget and 18k in transfer budget is absolutely insane. We're going to be able to buy so many new players from this. I'm so happy that we actually got the promotion in the first season already. That's absolutely insane. Anyway, there's going to be an end of the season review in a little bit, so let me show you what else will happen when we move to the League 1. Earlier this season I started the Continental C license for Jake Jacobson, and he's actually completed them in 4 months, so very nice for him. That does mean that Jake Jacobson now looks something like this. So he's gotten a lot more coaching attributes, and as you can see in the mental department, more level of discipline and people management, which is very good to see. Of course, whenever possible, once again, we're going to try if we're able to go for the Continental B license already. I'm not sure if you are. Maybe we need to be in a higher league before the board would approve it, but hey, at least we're going to try. Without asking, you get nowhere. The board initially declined my request, then I told them I really wanted it, and now they're giving me 6 months to complete the Continental B license, which will make the attributes for Jake Jacobson even better, so that will be absolutely fantastic. 2 more things worth mentioning is our supporter profile update. We now have 61k followers on the social media, 3k more than last season. Then also in the club vision and expectations, these are the expectations that we're working with. So as you can see, we need to play attacking football, possession football, make the most of set pieces, entertaining football, and high tempo pressing football. I think some of them we're doing, but as you can see, not very important. What is required, however, is to work within the wage budget, and we will try to do that. Also, grow the club's reputation is desired, but of course we're doing that if we go through the ranks of the English footballing pyramid. Maximum 1-year contracts for players over the age of 33. Of course, not really relevant because we're not getting in any players who are older than 24. However, if they stay at the club, we need to make sure that they don't get a contract when they're over 33. Attempt to avoid relegation from the Sky Bet League 1. Well, that does seem a little bit negative. Of course, we're going to try to finish top half, of maybe in the middle, but not in the lower leagues of the Sky Bet League 1, because I think the level between League 2 and League 1 are still the same. Anyway, if that's all, let's just go ahead and click accept current vision, and then these are the things that we're working towards. But of course, to avoid relegation, nah man, we're going for a mid-table finish in the League 1 next season. Some of you might also find this interesting. This is how much we've earned this season. So as you can see, a couple of millions here and there. Then also 3 new deals, probably because we've gone up in reputation and also into League 1, so we get a lot more bigger deals. Then also, this is something that I think is new for this year's FM. You can see here how much you're projected to earn because your ticket prices are going up. So they're €1 more expensive this season, of course, since we're playing against better opposition. So we're also gaining more from the season tickets, which is always nice to see. It just gives you an impression how much we're going to earn. We're earning almost 6 million from tickets. That's a lot for a League 1 club, I do believe. And last but not least, the end of season review. Let's start with the new arrivals, and of course Jake Vokins is in here. This guy has absolutely been great for us this season. 20k with some installments, 4 goals, 12 assists in 21 games. Absolutely great to get him in. Also, very happy about Sam Shearing. Not too great of an average rating, but he really boosted up our defense and made us a lot stronger in defense. Also, Gene Kennedy, 22 games, played very well in the absence of Smallwood, so really happy to have brought him in. He also developed quite nicely, but he could still improve a lot more. And of course, Kyle Taylor, didn't really see a lot of him this year, but 2 goals and 3 assists in the games that he played is still very good. He played a total of 17 games, 10 as a starter, and this guy, he's going to be a backup. He's a good backup and he's very cheap, 1k a week, so he will be around for a long while still. Then the season results, and as you can see, we had a pretty tough start, but after that we kept on winning, and we did pretty well. MK Donsk also won the playoffs, so they're coming up with us to League 1. I think that's really expected. I also thought Wrexham did really well, but they just didn't make the playoffs. Otherwise, they could have also been promoted back to back. Anyway, in the FA Cup, we didn't do so well, getting knocked out by Exeter, and also in the Bristol Street Motor Trophy got knocked out by Barnsley. And actually Grimsby won this, and they're also a League 2 side, so very impressive that a League 2 side can actually win this. And also for the Carabao Cup, got knocked out by Bolton Wanderers, who I think are also in League 1, so we'll be playing them next season. As for moments to remember, the match to remember, a 4-1 victory over Gillingham. Don't really think that was a big one. Then Notts County, which also wasn't very interesting, but this game 3-3 against Wrexham, where we scored the goal of the season apparently, that was a very good match from us. All goals scored in the first 50 minutes, but that was a very good game. I think we came back a couple of times. Yeah, we were 3-2 down and we came back, so that was nice. Anyway, onto the finances. I already showed you this a little bit, so let's not dive into it anymore. And then how we lined up, how our team did, and as you can see, the wingbacks from us are very important in our game, and also Jake Young performing pretty nicely. As you can see, still a lot of upgrades to be made here. We're not performing quite as I would like to, but at least the wingbacks are doing really good. And as you can see, top scorers, 18 goals, Alex Patterson, not too bad. Brad Halliday, who is unfortunately leaving the club with his 14th assist, is going to be missed. But of course we have a lot of transfer budget to make sure that we can buy a very good replacement for him. Then as for history in the making, nothing's really here. Manager timeline isn't very important. But of course we are celebrating that we're going up to League 1. One last thing before I end the episode. Since we're moving to the League 1, we are now getting 560k in finances, which means that we're almost out of the red zone, which is very good to see. So hopefully League 1 will bear us more fruits, and hopefully we can turn around the finances very nicely so that we're not half of the season in the reds. That's going to be it for this episode of Football Manager. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you've enjoyed, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below. And also, if you have an idea for a challenge that we can do for next save or also for this save, please leave them down in the comments and I'll have a look at them. Stay tuned for the next episode, because we're going into our first ever season in League 1 and we have a lot of money, quote unquote, to spend on new players. And also, of course, we do need some quality players for League 1. Next episode, I'm going to be showing you how I do all my signings, how I check based on data which players I want to bring in and which players I want to let go of. Hey guys, and welcome back to the 5th episode of this Bradford Road to Glory, where we try to aim to win the FA Cup with Bradford City while only making signings based on data and also not buying anyone who is older than 24 years. At the beginning of the season we got a pretty big transfer budget. However, we got an even bigger wage budget, so I switched some money around. I put some of the wage budget into the transfer budget, and that means that we have a lot more to spend, and spending is what we're going to do in this season. I already made some signings. I will switch in a second to the data sheet to show you how I've made these signings and based on what I've made these signings. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into the data sheet. To start off with, we have brought in a new keeper, John McCracken. He's our newest addition and he's probably going to play. Just because he's 24 years old, could still improve and is already better than Sam Walker. So Sam Walker is going to be our backup goalkeeper, and Luca Ashby Hammond, who we brought in last season, is going to be loaned out most likely because we currently don't really have a place for him in the squad. The next thing I did was look for a new wingback, and I found it in the role of Harry Boyce, who we brought in. He's 11.3, which is a lot better than Vokins, who is going to be our starting wingback, and also a lot better than Amos right here. And also Gillihead is moving to the wingback position in the reserves. Right here, Amos is also new, so he's actually better than the wingbacks we had before. I still brought him in as a backup. He was cheap. We didn't have to pay anything for him, so that was very nice. Then let's move on to the ball playing defenders that I brought in. For the ball playing defenders, I've brought in Deji Elewere, or however you pronounce it, an 11.9, so a lot better than the ball playing defenders we currently have. As you can see, Matthew Platt and Dawson right here are 11.4s, and only Sam Sharing is coming in pretty close with an 11.8. So very happy with this signing as well. This does mean that Sam Stubbs and Kieran Kelly are moving to the bench together with Ash Taylor. I am, however, still going to see if I can get more good players in, and I'm currently in talks with a player to bring him into the squad. I just wanted to let you guys see how I make these signings. So for example, right here, I saw that JG Eleweri was an 11.9, so a lot better than the current ball playing defenders that we have. I saw that he was kind of affordable. I also tried Ben Goodliff, but he just signed a new contract, so that's why we didn't sign him. Jordan Brown is a lot more expensive than it shows right here. Currently that range is just way too high for a player of that caliber. Lastly, let's take a look at the inside forward that I've brought in, Colin Whelan. He's going to be our new starting inside forward, and he's a lot better than what we had before in Tyler Smith, because Tyler Smith is an 11.0 and Colin Whelan is an 11.5. So he's going into the team straight away. Also not very expensive, 55k to 550k, so doesn't look too bad. Those are all the players that I've brought in. Of course, I'm not going to be doing this every player that we bring in, but this is the way that I calculate if a player is good enough to go into the team or not. As you can see right here, Sam Mather was a very good player to bring in and very cheap, but unfortunately our reputation as a club wasn't high enough for him to really want to join us. So fortunately we couldn't really get him in, but of course, as you can see, this guy would have been absolutely insane if we could have brought him in. Anyway, that's all the signings I've made so far. Let's jump back to Football Manager, and this is what it looks like in Football Manager. As you can see, John McCracken, the goalkeeper, very good. backup to have. Danny Utmost, the backup wingback we have, also not a bad player. Harry Boyce, an insane player for this level, on a very expensive contract, I'll tell you, 4.9k a week. So I really trust this guy to make it. Then also JG Eleweri, however you pronounce it, brought him for 350k. Really need this guy to perform, but look at these stats. Physically a beast for this level. Also technically does have the stats to actually really work his way through the ranks with us to hopefully the championship, and in the end maybe also possibly the Premier League. Also on the other side, a couple of players left. Andy Cook finally managed to get this guy out. He was earning 5k a week and we barely played him, but we sold him to Wigan for 93k, which isn't too bad. I'm happy that he's left. Then also Adam Wilson left on a free. He also was on a very cheap contract, but I just never used him, so might as well just gotten rid of him. Anyway, this is not going to be all. Of course, like I showed you, there's still a lot of transfer budget left. I'm going to try to spend all of that, and if I do have a lot of money left over, I might just spend it on one player. But first, let's try to upgrade the team gradually so we can start with a very good team in League 1 and not just have a lot of differences. Anyway, that's not all. We still have 750k left in the transfer budget, and I'm going to try to not spend it on just one player, but I hope to spend it on a couple of players who can gradually make our team a little better. Anyway, I'll be back at the end of the transfer window with the rest of the signings that I've made to go into our first ever season in League 1. It is the 4th of September and the transfer window has officially ended in the second season with Bradford City. As you can see, we made some signings. In the end, we could not make more signings, but I will explain that in a little bit. Let's run through the players that we've brought in. Sam Mather paying 9k in his whole loan, and he's absolutely insane. Not sure how many times he's going to play, but whenever we need someone to fill in, Sam Mather is going to be our super sub. Only 9k a year we're paying for him. Then Friendly Thorndike, not very good, just brought him in as a backup because we needed a backup inside forward. JJ Kiernan, paid the big bucks for this guy, 84k, but eventually it could be a lot more with some potential add-ons. He didn't start off too good, 2 goals in 4 games, but let's hope that he can really help us stay into League 1 this season. Then Ethan Coleman, a very good mental player, brought him in as a starting ball winning midfielder because Smallwood was getting old and I kind of want someone a lot younger in that position. And then also Besart Topalio, Kosovan center back who played quite okay for us so far. He's on a very low wage, 2.8k, and look at this guy, very well rounded, very nice to see. Let's hope he can do some good things in the center of our defense. And then for the players out, you'll see Gene Kennedy left on loan because we didn't really have a place for him anymore. Oliver left to the Green Rock Morton for a free. And also Freddie Jeffries, which is a youngster, also left on a free, so very nice to see them leave. Also Finn Cousin Dawson and Lewis Richards once again have been loaned out to Wigan in League 2 and to Newport County also in League 2. The main thing here is Vadane Oliver left. He had big wages, so getting him out of the club really meant we could spend a lot more on the wages, for example on JJ Kiernan, and he is earning 6.5k a week now. With all of that said and done, this is what the team looks like. So as you can see, McCracken, our new goalkeeper in goal, currently injured. Same goes for Sam Walker, so a very unfortunate timing there, but luckily we still have Ashby Hammond as our backup. Then in the center defense, Sharing, who we saw there last season already, Topayo and Elerwi, I'm still not sure how to pronounce this guy, are 2 new signings in the center back position. Then Coleman, also a new signing in the defensive midfield position. Vokins, of course, to the left, and as you can see, the new signing boys, we're retraining him to also be able to play on the right. Then on the wings, Smith and Patterson, same as last season, and Kavanagh still in the advanced forward position, but this time McKiernan backing him up in the complete forward position. On the bench we still have Platt, Subs and Kieran from last season. Gillyhead and Smallwood are still here, together with our new signing Danny Asmus, who is going to be our backup left back. Carl Taylor and Thorndike, as you can see Thorndike right here as our inside forward backup. Jake Young and Udor still in here, although I'm not sure how much playing time Udor is going to get this season. Last but not least, Ash Taylor also here from last season. We really want to get rid of him because he is the 7th choice center back and he's only 3 acceleration, so this guy barely has any legs. Then really last, of course, Sam Mather, who is almost always going to go into the substitutes and maybe, if we really need him, into the first team. And look how good this guy already looks there. So that's the main team. That's what we're going to play with. Let me show you how we started the season. In the 5 games that we've played in League 1, we've only drawn 1 against Bolton, and we've actually won against Nottingham County. I thought that was for the league, so I was really happy that we got our first win, but then turned out that it was against Notts County, who are in League 2. Anyway, we did beat the leaders from League 2, so that's a positive. But as you can see, we are scoring and we're just barely losing. It's not big scores. We just need to turn it around a little, change our morale, and hopefully we are able to make it through. For the Carabao Cup, we already lost against Plymouth, unfortunately, who are also in League 1. I played a backup team for those games usually. Then the next couple of games are against Portsmouth, Exeter, Stevenage and Charlton, so let's hope we can get some points there. And what I'll be doing now is I'll be once again simming forward to January. January transfer window will be discussed in the next episode, and in the next episode we'll see what kind of players we can still bring in, because we do still have a lot of transfer budget and wage budget left. However, as you can see here, the wage budget is limited to 60% of turnover, which means that if we go to our wage budget right here, you'll see that we're currently spending 95k a week and our max is 100k, which means we can only give out contracts worth 4k still until we reach our cap. So that's why I didn't really find any more good players, and we'll really have to take a look into the squad, what kind of players we can get rid of to get some more wage room to make sure we can get some more upgrades in, because I don't think we're going to make it with the team that we have to the championship. And neither do the bookmakers, because as you can see in the season preview, they're expecting us to come in 23rd, so they're expecting us to really be relegated very quickly. We're going to do the worst of the promoted teams. Of course, Colchester and Stockport, they finished 1 and 2 last season in League 2, and MK Donsk finished even in the promotion spots, but the bookmakers think that they're going to do better than us. Well, let's just make sure that we don't end in the 23rd position. Let's aim for somewhere around 12th, 13th. I'm pretty sure we can turn the season around and hopefully not relegate. Hey guys, and welcome back to the 6th episode of this Bradford City Road to Glory, where you try to aim to win the FA Cup. And as you can see, we've turned it around, baby. Let's take a look at the league table. We are currently in 7th position, which is absolutely insane. As you can see here, we started off so poorly, even being in 24th in the league. After that, we just started winning, and we've really been performing excellent. As you can see here, we've lost the first 4 games in League 1. After that, our first 2 points came in from 2 draws. And after that, baby, we just kept on winning and drawing, not even losing except for this one against Cambridge in the league, even winning 7-1 over Charlton, which is absolutely insane. So we're doing pretty well. We've reached January, and you know what that means. And January almost always means that we're going to make some more transfers, because of course we do have a little bit of transfer budget left to spend. However, for that we still need to offload some of the Deadwood players that we have in our team, and with those players I mainly mean, for example, Ash Taylor, who I just want to get rid of because of its wages. Bob Poynton also, if they just leave, then it really helps us a lot more in the wage department. Same goes for Brad Halliday, and we just have a lot more players that we might want to get rid of. Something in the name of maybe Richie Smallwood right here, also a player who we aren't really using a lot anymore. 12 games, I mean, it's okay, but he's just getting old, and that wages we can use for other players. Same goes for Luca SB Hammond. Gave him a way too expensive contract, but now I really want this guy to get out. So that's what we're trying to do in the January transfer window. I will make some signings. I will take you through some of the signings that I'm going to make if I'm going to be making them. And then I'll be back at the end of the January transfer window to see how our team at that point looks like. But for now, let's go ahead and find some cheap deals of players that we can potentially bring to Bradford. And while we're at it, I've also received a new contract right here until 2027, earning a little bit more, and also studying for the Continental A license now. So only, I think, 2 more licenses, and then we have the max license. And as you can see, we're coming along pretty nicely. Very, very well rounded in the attacking, defending, technical, mental, and tactical departments, and also, of course, our player and youngster knowledge 20s, motivating 20. So still a lot to upgrade, but hey, we're doing pretty nicely. As for the contracts that are expiring, you can see right here that Smallwood is expiring. I'm not going to be extending that one because he's simply too old. Then Ash Taylor, who I want to get rid of for a long time, is also ending. Alex Gillihat actually gave him a new contract, or I am offering him a new contract for a lot less money, but he's very versatile, so it's very nice to have him to the team, and he's not even that bad of a player. Then also we have Lewis Richards, who never really made any appearances for us, so just want to let him go. Sam Walker, our goalkeeper from the first season, good goalkeeper, just a little old, 33 years old, gonna let him go. Then Matthew Platt, actually not a very good player, but I just wanted one backup center back to be left, because I don't want to just bring in new players. So I'm also giving him a 1-year contract with a very cheap deal, also 1.7. Then Sam Stubbs, probably not going to re-sign him, he's just not good enough. Syrian Kelly, same goes for him, never gets any playing time, so also letting him go. Bobby Poynton, a wonder kid, I would say, or just a youngster with a lot of potential, isn't good enough to really get into the team. And of course, Sam Mather is leaving at the end of the season. I would love to make this deal permanent, but I'm not quite sure if it's actually possible. We could ask him, but he would like Bradford to get promoted from the League 1 before he would consider joining. So maybe at the end of the season we could try to get him in, but it's not going to be very likely, because for that we need to get promoted. And of course, back-to-back promotions aren't going to be very likely. So let's just hope we could get a promotion and keep Max Mather in. Otherwise we're going, or Sam Mather, sorry, or otherwise we're just going to have to find another player. Here we are in the datasheet, and I was looking for a new wingback because I wanted to improve the team a little bit, and I also wanted to have a third wingback which I could use in a lot of different scenarios. So what I did is I went looking for some good players that I could bring in, and eventually my eye caught Jack Sparkles, who was only 35k to 350k, so it wasn't that expensive. His contract was ending and he's an 11.4, which means that he is better than Boyce, who we currently have, and he's also a little bit better than Vokin, so he could be a very good starter or just another backup. So I decided to bring him in, and let me show you what that looked like in Football Manager. Here we go, Jack Sparkus, like I showed you. We're paying 110k for him on a 2.5k wages a week, which is not a lot. 83k will be deducted because we are paying some of it in installments. He's coming over from Portsmouth, and as you can see, a very well-rounded player with good crossing, which we need in that wingback position. And something that's even better, he can already play a little bit more in the right wingback, so he's also very versatile on both sides. So very happy to have him in. We're going to accept his deal, click continue, and that should mean that this guy is officially into our team. Jack Sparkles, squad registration, let's put him in. ask him to be welcomed, and right here we have him. I'm probably going to try to retrain him a little bit more on that right side so he can play there. And this also means that another wingback who we currently have can leave the team. So let me just quickly show you in the datasheet which wingback that is. So here we are back in the datasheet, and we have Jack Sparkus right here. So we are going to make him white, then put him in like so as a yes, then sort all on yes, and we have the whole team in here. So right here we can see as a wingback we currently have Boyes and Vokins. Then our backups are Atmos and Gilead, and I really like Atmos because he's just very good. Gilead I've just given a new contract because he's very versatile, but he's no longer going to be our wingback in the reserves. I am going to make him the 13th man, and Jack Sparkus for now I'm going to make him the wingback in the rest, but once he gets more playing time and next season he'll probably be a starter. Anyway, that's how I do it in the datasheet. Normally I would sell the player that we are replacing as the wingback in the reserves, but this time, because I just gave Gilead a new contract and he's very versatile, I am just going to leave him as our 13th man. For this episode, this is the last player I'm going to show you, but this guy is absolutely insane. Ousmane Kane, we've brought in a Senegalese player, but look how good this guy is. When we look at the wingback position, he's top 6. When we look at the ball playing position, he's the best. And defensive midfielder, he's the second best player in that position. Absolutely insane guy. Brought him in on a pretty cheap fee, if I do say so myself. But let's see what he looks like in Football Manager. And bam, here he is in Football Manager. Look at this guy. How is he this good already? We have brought him in on 4k a week, which is not even that much. 300k we paid for him. But if you look at this guy, that's 100% deserved. Physically, very, very good for this competition. Mentally, also insane for this competition. And technically, 14 penalty taking. I think he's going to be our penalty taker for the rest of the series. But anyway, this guy has a potential of 4.5 stars. But if I look at this guy, there's no way that this guy can't perform well in the championship as well. So I'm going to probably retrain him to play as a ball playing defender, because that's where we're losing a lot of players currently. So I'll be retraining him, I'll be giving him some playing time, and this guy is a definite starter for our team. 300k is a steal for this guy, so happy to have him in. Alright, and that's the end of the transfer window in January in our second season with Bradford. In our overall balance, we're not doing too good. We're 1.4 in the negative, which isn't very good, but hopefully we can turn it around next season if we get promoted to the championship, and also with more of the prize money from the league and also from our sponsors. Anyway, we still have a lot of wage budget and transfer budget left. I couldn't get anyone in because we are at the max wage budget that we can spend based on our turnover. So this is what we're going to have to do it with. And let's jump straight into the transfers that we've made. So nothing too interesting has happened. Colin Whelan, who we already signed before, has eventually joined us right now. So he's going to be our starter inside forward from this point on. A very good player who we brought in from Ireland. He is very good, can also play in the striker position, so happy to have him in. Then we've also got Jack Sparkus and Ousmane Kane, who you already saw, that also joined us. Both of them are going to probably be starters. And then also James McConnell, who we've brought in on a loan from Liverpool. We're not paying anything for him and he's a very good player. I'm probably going to retrain him to play as an inside forward, because as a DM he's not that good, so we're probably gonna try to play him like somewhere on the right or on the left there, which should be good for him since he has good, well-rounded physicals, mentals and technicals. Then as for the players who did leave the club, 3 of them left for a fee, which is nice. Kyle Taylor left for Wigan. We brought him in a couple seasons ago, didn't play too much, and this season he played even less, so decided to just move him on. Didn't make a loss, didn't make a profit, so good to see. Then Lewis Richards The game has brought him in for us before. I think he joined from Wolves, sold him on for 30k, wasn't getting any playing time, was always loaned out, so I decided to just move him on, cash in on him, because I wasn't going to be using him in the future. Then also Syrian Kelly also left the club. His contract was ending very soon, so I decided to move him on. He didn't get a lot of playing time this season. Last season he played half of the games. This season only 4 starts, so I just decided that would be best for him to be let go. Then also Luca SB Hammond, we've loaned him out. He's going to be our backup goalkeeper once he gets back. However, his wages are a little bit on the high side, so I do hope we can maybe negotiate that down a little bit when he comes back, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, for now, loaned out to Cove Rangers in Scotland, so that's good. His wages aren't on the books right now. And those are all the transfers that I've made in this January transfer window. Off camera in the transfer window, we've played 6 games, we've won 4, lost 2, and this one was really a shame. We conceded 2 goals at the beginning of the game, which were really unnecessary. We then didn't get back into the game, unfortunately, and we lost it 1-2. We do have still a lot of games to go, as you can see here, so a lot can change. We're currently in 5th position, but whenever Burton win or draw, they are 5th. It's a long sprint to the automatic promotion places, and I don't think we'll be able to make it. But hey, making the playoffs is really good, because remember, at the beginning of this season we were in 24th and currently we're in 5th, so we're doing way better than expected. Of course, from the XG we should have been placed already at first place, but unfortunately we're still 5th. But we shouldn't complain. Let's try to really make those playoffs this season, and let's see if we can force our way into the championship already. That's absolutely insane to think about. It seems to happen in every save I play, but we have gotten a transfer embargo. And why? Because of our bad finances? No. Because we are in takeover talks with local investor David Fletcher, so he might take over. It's bad that we have the transfer embargo now. I hope it doesn't take a while. Let's hope the next transfer window it's gone again, or when we get our new budget. But it might mean that the current negative overall balance that we have might get wiped away and we might start fresh. That would be very nice. But let's see about the transfer embargo. For now, no news. I'll let you know when I have more to tell you. And there is the confirmation. Bradford City takeover completed. As you can see, the transfer embargo has been lifted. The club vision and expectations are still quite the same. And a personal message: I want to thank you for your patience during what was undoubtedly been a stressful time for everyone at the club. Blah blah blah. Some have left the club. It has been replaced with director Daniel Dawson. So let's see if anything really is going to change, or if we've just got new owners. Like I said, because of the takeover, we now have a positive overall balance. As you can see, 700k in the positive, which is nice, because I think previously we were about 1.7 million in the negative, of course, because we have a lot more wages and we're going through the ranks, so you're going to eventually have a negative balance because of the higher wages. Anyway, very nice to see that we've got more overall balance. The transfer budget didn't get touched as of yet, but that might get increased at the end of this current season. And the last thing for this episode will be the youth intake that we got for this season. It's not anything very special. As you can see, our best player is Lane Rudd, who has 14 technique, okay physicals for his age I suppose, and 11 determination. He could be a good advanced playmaker, but he's probably going to play in the inside forward if he develops well. But with 1 leadership, I'm not sure if this guy is ever going to be a starter for us. What I did want to share is that Kian Phelan has now been promoted to the first team, and you can understand why, because physically this guy is an absolute beast. 15 acceleration, 15 pace, which means he's absolutely rapid on the flank or as a inside forward. Hopefully he can do a lot more good for us in the next season. With all of that out of the way, those are the youth intake players that we've got this season and one of the players we have been promoted to the first team. With that out of the way, one last thing I want to show you is that we've got a lot of injuries, so making the playoffs might be quite difficult for us, but we'll see if we can manage. Anyway, that's going to be at the end of this episode. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you've enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like down below and subscribe if you want to see more of this series. Hey guys, and welcome back to the 7th episode of this Bradford City Road to Glory, where we're trying to win the FA Cup with Bradford City, making all the signings based on data, and also we're not signing any players over the age of 24. If you also want to know how you can start playing Football Manager based on data, go ahead and click the link in the description. It will lead you to the video where I explain how you can use Excel to start signing players based on data. Anyway, last episode we left off with this loss against Exeter at the end of the January transfer window. After that we did do some winning, as you can see. Until the end of the season we kept on winning, also losing a few, and right here it was very close, nearly beating Burton, who at the time were I think in 6th position and we were in 7th, also beating Cambridge right here, which was very nice, which eventually meant that we would make it into the playoffs, which you can see here. We started off really poorly, but in the end made our way up, really got a lot of places in the 9th round because we probably just took over a lot of other teams. Then we went into 5th and we actually never really left there. We were bouncing up and down between 5th and 6th, which was really nice, but eventually we finished in 5th, which meant that we're going into the playoffs. Reading, Birmingham, they came in 1st and 2nd. Bolton, Portsmouth and Blackpool, all of those teams went into the playoffs with us, and as you can see we did very good from the beginning of the season, and the other ones were already really up there at the beginning of the season. So let me show you how we did in those playoff games. First game against Portsmouth, we beat them 5-0, which meant that we were already with one leg into the second game, because the first playoff games were 2 legs, so you first had to play at home and then away. And at home we beat them 5-0, and away I played more of a backup squad to give my players some rest, and as you can see we also beat them 2-0 while not playing our best football, but it was good enough with the 5-0 victory at home to go through the final of the playoffs. Hey, 93.5% of you are not subscribed to my channel yet. Please do consider subscribing, as it really helps me out a ton and it keeps me motivated to make more awesome content. With that out of the way, let's move on to the video. And in that final playoff game we were facing Bolton, and look how good these players are that they have in their team. It's almost impossible to beat them. They all had very old experienced players on high wages, and I think all of these players, which is almost 8 or 9, earn more than our players. However, in the end that did not matter. As you can see right here, we beat Bolton 4-0, 2 goals from Kavanagh, 1 goal from Mather and a goal from Patterson. Really made us turn over that game. Very well played, which means that Bradford FC have been promoted to the championship. Back-to-back promotions, baby. Absolutely insane from Bradford City, and I'm not sure if I can really hold this team together because we have wanted players left and right. Very happy with this. Really didn't expect it if you saw the start of the season, but we did it, baby. Let's go to the championship. Anyway, let's jump shortly into the end of season review. As you can see, Sam Mather, 24 apps, 9 goals, 11 assists. Absolutely insane player. Also, Asumain Kane, 300k we paid for him, but look how well he performed. Very happy with him in the team. Then as transfers out, not really anything important, just a lot of, Deadwood players that we've sold on, and of course some loans. Then onto the season results. Average home attendance of 20k, it's really good. I think if we have that in the championship, we have one of the best home attendances in the league. Now, as you can see, we started poorly, but in the end we did very well. FA Cup was one to forget, knocked out in the first round by the Tranmere Rovers. Same goes for the Carabao Cup, knocked out in the first round by Plymouth Argyle, and in Bristol Street Motors Trophy. We did manage to win two, but eventually we got knocked out anyway. Really didn't understand that, but hey, it is what it is. On to the moments to remember: the 7-1 victory, the 2-3 victory, both over Charlton, so apparently they were really interesting. And then to the finances, as you can see, more sponsorship, more broadcast revenue, more corporate and hospitality. Of course they all go up since we're rising through the leagues and we're getting more reputation, and also of course more matchday and commercial income. I expect that these sponsorship deals are going to grow as we move on. They are probably not going to be high right now, but let's hope that eventually in this season also we will get a little bit more. Anyway, I like to see how we lined up. As for next season, Sam Mather isn't going to be here anymore. Other than that, all of these players are staying, so that's very nice to see. And talking about moving players on, we currently have a transfer budget of 858k with 45k in the wage budget, so that would mean that we could get a lot of better players in. Of course, our squad is already pretty good, I would say. If we click on squad right here where I just was, go to general info, it's not bad. Our best player is Sam Mather and he looks very good. But we also still have Callum Kavanagh, who is a physical beast, mentally very stable, but maybe technically he can't really do any damage in the championship, so we're really gonna have to improve. Ousmane Kane, very happy with this guy. I think he is made for the championship, so we don't have to look for a replacement on his side. But other than that, a lot of players are going to leave, like I also already showed you in the last episode. I think it's going to be about 6 or 7 players, as you can see all of these. Of course we're going to try to keep Sam Mather in here, but it's probably going to be very hard. But hey, at least we can try. What I'll be doing now is I'll be making some changes. I'll be getting some players in and I'll be seeing what we can do and what kind of team we can build for our first ever season in the championship. Not sure if I will show you any of these signings, but in the end I will show you what kind of players we have brought in. For the ones of you who it might interest, as you can see, 4 more deals. Like I said, they just came in a little bit later. 700k per year, which is quite nice. And also, of course, the changes to the stadium ticket prices. Since we've gone up a league, we now can charge more for our tickets, which in turn means that we have more income, which is very, very nice. It's the end of the 2025 transfer window. Let's take a look which players have left the club. First of all, Matthew Platt sold him on for 68k. He served us pretty well. It was time for him to leave because we were getting better centre backs in. Also, Cian Phelan, our wonder kid, loaned him out to Fleetwood so he could get some playing time. And then also, of course, you see a lot more players have left the club. 5 loans from some players which contracts are running out and I just don't want their wages because we're not using them. Also, of course, Finn Cousin Dawson once again loaned out. I don't think this guy will ever play for the club, but hey, at least he can still improve. Then Clark Udor, who we let leave to Burgos in Spain, 66k. He didn't really play for us last couple of seasons, so managed to sell him on. Finley Thorndike also left for 69k. He came in on a free, played a couple of games, but last season, this season I don't think he's going to have any playing time. Then a big sale. Jake Young left for 1.1 million to Real Santander. He didn't play for us that much. He did play for us as a starter, but he didn't perform especially well, so I just managed to sell him on. That was very nice because that 1.1 million we could really use to bring in some other players. And about that, let me just jump straight into which players we have brought in. As you can already see here, Elkan Bakot, a guy who we always signed last season, very good physicals, brought him in as a backup defender. Same goes for Alex Kirk, also a backup defender, very good player indeed. 4k a week, so not that expensive, and also 15.5k, which is an absolute steal. Kieran Morrison, a wonder kid youngster who we brought in from Liverpool and then loaned out immediately. And then let's move into the players that we have also brought in this season and where we spent a lot of money on. Luca Fletcher, brought him in on loan, a very good backup to have whenever we need someone to score some goals. Jack Vale, a free transfer, but this guy is actually very good if you ignore his red arrows. Physically, very well rounded. Same goes for mental and technical, and he is going to be an inside forward for us, so hopefully he can do a lot of damage from that position. Then also Billy Cumentio, a very good player indeed, on a very expensive contract, 10.5k, brought him in on a free from Liverpool, and this guy, if he reaches his potential, he's going to be a very good championship player. Then the players where we spent some money on: Sam Anderson, a youngster from also Luton. I thought it was Liverpool, but it was in the end Luton. Having him in is very nice. He can play anywhere in those front three. I think that's where I will be retraining him, but as you can see, his Holy Trinity is very good. 15 dribbling, 14 first touch, 15 heading, 15 first touch, and 13 heading means he is a very good player. Then Adam Barry, 230k on this guy, and as you can see, you'll understand why. 18 flair, 14 first touch, 14 passing, 14 technique. Perfect for this level and could still improve a lot. Very cheap deal, and also physically he's okay, he just still needs to improve a little bit. And then 1.9 million on the biggest signing of this series so far, Mark Helm. And if you look at this guy, you understand why we spend so much on him. He is insanely well rounded, good physicals for this level, good technicals and also good mentals. 14 long shots, 13 passing, 13 technique, 13 first touch, which means he's going to be playing as a inside forward, and as you can see, almost all the highlighted stats are 12 or higher, which is absolutely insane to see. He didn't start off that good with 4 games, 1 goal, 2 assists and a 6.8, but I hope once this guy gets familiar with our tactic, he's going to be the real deal. Then what does our tactic look like at the moment? Still the same tactic, but as you can see, Billy Cumentio, who we just brought in, is now in the starting 11. The same goes for Alex Kirk. I mentioned before that he was going to be a backup, but he's actually a starter. Sam Sharing still in there, which means that Topayo and Eleweri are moving to the bench, and the same goes for Elkan Baggett. In the wingback positions we have Harry Boyce and Jack Sparks, which is very good. So Vokings is going to the bench, which isn't a bad thing per se, because Sparks is just a lot better. And then also Helm and Vil are also new and also in the starting 11, and Kavanagh is now being partnered by Sam Anderson, who I'm going to be starting as our complete forward. That means that a lot of players have left. As you can see, we've sold on a lot of Deadwood, and a couple of these players' contracts are ending after their loans, which means that we hopefully don't have to use them anymore. Other than that, nothing really special. What's interesting is that JJ McKiernan wanted a new contract. He wanted almost 20k. I'm not gonna spend 20k on a guy who can only score 11 goals in League 1. So that's a no-go. He has moved to the bench, and as you can see, you understand why. Technically, he's a lot worse than the guys that we've brought in. So he's still a good backup, but he's not worth the 20k that he wanted. And that is how the team is lining up for this 3rd season in the championship. Some other interesting things to see are our finances, and especially our wages. Look how much we spent on extra wages. We're now at 150k. And what's even more mind-blowing, that if we go to the Skybet Championship, where you see we're in 14th position, which is absolutely insane, and we go to the stats, the team detailed, and right here you'll see how much everybody is spending. And as you can see, Bradford City is nowhere to be found, and we're all the way down here. We're only spending 6 mil a year on players, and we're really down low. We're the lowest in the league, so we're not even spending that much, which in turn must mean that we get relegated. As you can see, we're paying 150k, and Leeds and Fulham are paying 1.5 mil, which means that they're paying 10 times as much as we do. Absolutely mental. Because if you take a look at what we're expected to do, you see that Fulham, Wolves and Leeds, who have been relegated last season, are expected to go up, and we are expected to end dead last in the league, which of course isn't going to happen because, as I already showed you, we are in 14th, 8 points, we have drawn 2, lost 2, and we've actually won 2 against Luton and Derby, and Luton are really good in this game. As you can see, they're almost paying 50k to so many more players, and we just don't have the budget to do that at this point. So very happy with those points that we've already got. If you take a look in the last 2 seasons, 45 points is what you need to have. So if you have 45 points, you're safe from relegation, and that's what I'm aiming for this season. Nothing more, nothing less. The championship is really another piece of cake when it comes to the League 1 and League 2, because the level there is way closer together, but the championship, there's like Premier League type of players in here, so it's almost impossible for us to get promoted this season. But hey, I also said the same last season. The last thing I'm going to show you in this episode is how our team has developed. So as you can see, previously we were around 11.5, 11-ish with our players, and as you can see, keepers 11.2, wingbacks almost 12s with Ousmane Kane. Kane is absolutely insane. As you can see, 12.7 and 12.7 as defensive midfielder and ball playing midfielder. But where we really improved is of course with those other 3 players that we brought in, Billy, Alex and Sam. They're almost at 12s or higher, which is absolutely good to see, because the average level of a championship club should be around 12, 13. So that means that these players are kind of around the level that you need for the championship. Then also, as you can see, Mark Helm, who we spent 1.9 million on, 12.4 in that inside forward role, so very happy to have him in. And also Jack Phil, an 11.8 free transfer, so that is a very good deal for us as well. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode of the Bradford City Road to Glory. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below, and also let me know down in the comments if you have any more idea of challenges that we can do in this series or the next ones. Hey guys, welcome back to this 8th episode of this Bradford Road to Glory series, where we try to aim to win the FA Cup by only signing players under the age of 24 and also making all our signings based on data. If you also want to know how you can start signing players based on data, go ahead and click the link in the description of this video, and it will lead you to another video which will explain it perfectly. With that out of the way, I want to show you a couple of things before we start the episode. I am now studying for the Continental Pro license, so Jake Jacobson will almost be maxed out when it comes to his coaching licenses, and that means that he will look something like this, but maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit more attacking, defending, technical, mental and tactical, and maybe his mental will also improve, but I think his mental is already very good. We have also gotten better training facilities. As you can see, they're now adequate, which is nice. I'm trying to upgrade them along the way, but the board doesn't really want to join us since our finances aren't always as positive as they should be. Then also, we're still renting this stadium for 513k per year, so I might consider buying it when we have enough money. Of course, now we're in the championship, the prices of our players are getting inflated a lot more, so we might be able to sell some of them for very good deals. Well, we couldn't previously, so let's hope that we can make a big signing, or big sale, sorry, and then we can invest that money back into the club. Because as you can see, the wages really pay a toll. We're down a lot, and that is really because we're paying more wages, but also I hope that at the end of the championship season we'll get a lot more money in, since the championship just pays a lot more money when it comes to ticketing, but also when it comes to sponsorship income. Let's now take a look how Bradford City did in the championship. As you can see, of the first 3 games we've won 2 and drawn 1, which isn't bad. After that we lost 2, but against Wolves and Sheffield United that is acceptable. After that, a draw, a win, And after that, we really started kicking off. Look at all these wins. Small wins, small margins, but 2-1, 2-1, 1-0. We did really well. I adjusted our tactic as well during the matches to play either positive or cautious. And all of these games, us winning these games, means that we're now in second place in the championship. I can't actually believe it. It's so insane because we are there and we should be there. If we look at our XG, we are in second place, but it's just insane to imagine that we're once again in the promotion places of the championship. That is absolutely absurd. I don't understand how we're doing this, but we're performing very, very, very well, and we're even 5 points clear of the third place team, and the third until the sixth have to play the promotion playoffs. So I was aiming for a top half finish, but if we keep this going, we might actually make it in the Premier League back to back to back. But don't expect anything from this. Let's just. I'm already happy when we reach the top half finish. I was talking about that we needed 45 points. Well, we already have that, so we won't get relegated anymore. So let's just try our best to stay in the championship, and maybe we can dream of a place in the Premier League. Anyway, in January we once again have a transfer window. Of course, I don't think a lot's going to happen. Our scouting rate, it's pretty limited. We don't have a lot of transfer budget, and a wage budget also isn't too big. So I think we'd first have to sell someone or get rid of someone before we can really make some additional signings. I am also not hoping to make any signings because the squad as it is performing very, very well. As you can see, these are all of our starters, and they're all performing 6.7 or higher, with some of them really sticking out, like Boyce is performing insanely well, and also Luca Fletcher. I've been playing a lot. This guy is absolutely very good for this game. Good physicals, good technicals, and if anyone's seen the video from Zealand as well, you'll see that physical is really more important than anything else. What will happen right now is I will sim through once again to the end of the transfer window. I will play all of these games and let you know how we did. I think these games are pretty tough because we're playing Leeds, which are a good team, Coventry, who are actually a very good team with very high wages as well. As you can see, paying 29k for one player, that's absolutely insane in my opinion. But they're not that highly placed. The other games should be fairly easy. Maybe Fulham will pose a threat because they also have someone on 97k a week, which is, I mean, we'll get there. We'll probably be paying that in no time, but that's just so much money. Anyway, I'll be simming those. Last thing I wanted to show you is that I'm hiring a lot of staff for our club during the season, so it might come a change in the staff, but once again, I'm asking for more staff. They're saying no because of this, because of our low overall balance. So I'm really hoping that we can sell a player for some massive profit and use that to increase the club. Anyway, I will see you at the end of the January transfer window. We have arrived at the 3rd of February, and let's start with the players that we've sold. First of all, Brad Halliday left to Derry City for 30k. He wasn't playing a lot, he had some wages on the books, so we managed to sell him off. Next to him, also Tyler Smith, 27-year-old, left the club for Stockport, I think in the League 1, yes. He's left on a free. It's good for us because his wages were about 4k, so it's good that he left. Then also Colin Whelan, who we actually brought in on a free a couple seasons ago, didn't really get the playing time that we need for someone like that. Only played 2 games last season, so we sold him on to League 1 side MK Donsk for 250k, so a nice little profit there. And then the biggest sale of the series so far, JJ McKiernan went to Reading for 3.4 million, and we're still getting 800k if he plays 20 matches. This guy is bang average. I would say. But if we look at how good he did for us, he scored 11 goals and 3 assists in League 1. Then in the Championship he didn't really play a lot, mainly as a substitute he came in, so I just managed to sell him on for 3.4 mil, which is actually quite nice. And of course we reinvested some of that money back into the squad. We made one big signing in Rodrigo Muniz, earning 7k a week, paid 275k for him, so not even that much. He was playing for Fulham in the Premier League, but he didn't get any playing time there. He didn't get off to the best start yet, but look at this guy, he's very well rounded and he's already, I would say, kind of beginning Premier League level. 3 games, he didn't really play that well like I said before, but hopefully this guy can really flourish because he does have everything to be a good player. Next on the list, Guilherme Montoya. We brought him in from Norwich. They're currently playing in the Championship. A very good player. Played 2 games for us, not too good already, but I think he still has to really get going on 10k a week, so very expensive, so I hope this guy will do well, and you'll see why I brought him in. Look at these mental stats, absolutely insane, very well rounded, and that is what we're looking for. Didn't pay that much for him, only 100k, and he's already valued at 400k, so if we could sell him all in the future, that would be very nice. And then one big signing on which we spent a little bit more than I expected to. Welcome to Bradford City Football Club, Lilial Cameron. Currently he can only play in the advanced forward position, but this guy will be our new striker. Look at this holy trinity, 14 passing, 12 technique, very good physicals and a very well-rounded mentals as well. Brought him in for 1 million from Dundee United, where he played pretty well, I would say. His only lack is in the leadership and in aggression, but I think he'll be a very good backup for us to get. It cost us 1 million, which is quite expensive, but this guy is a very good Championship player. So if we manage to just develop him, get him going, and we're able to sell him on again for that 7k a week, I think we'll have a very good deal. So welcome once again, Leo Cameron. And those are all the departures and signings that we've made. We've spent 1.5 million where we gained 4.5. All of that money is still in our overall balance. As you can see, we still have a very big transfer budget, but I didn't want to spend it all to make sure that we keep some healthy finances, so I might spend that in the next transfer window. About how we did, you can look in the schedule. We've lost 2 out of 3 games, sorry, and we've tied 1. Well, this felt like a loss, so currently we're still sitting in 2nd place, but a little bit less comfortable than before. And as you can see, I think we should be able to make the promotions. That will be very, very nice. Next up, some tough games, as you can see. Sheffield United, Sunderland should be easy, Swansea and Middlesbrough, but then again, West Brom were in 16th, Coventry were in 20th, and I think Leeds were in 7th, so we are losing some easy games. Maybe I messed up the dynamics a little bit, but let's hope that we can still finish in those promotion spots, which would be nice. I hope we don't get an automatic promotion, because no way this team is able to take on the Premier League clubs, but another year in the Championship would be nice, so we can build up the team a little bit more before we try to win the Championship and go on to... Hey guys, and welcome back to the 9th episode of this Bradford City series. Our goal for this series is to win the FA Cup with Bradford City, while only making signings based on data and only bringing in players who are 24 years or younger. If you also want to know how you can start making signings based on data in Football Manager, go ahead and click the link in the description. It will lead you to a video where I explain perfectly how you can start playing Football Manager based on data. Let's start this episode off with the youth intake. And it doesn't look that bad. Of course, all of these players down here aren't very good, except for Charlie Sinclair, who looks kind of decent but low determination, so that's why we didn't offer him a contract. But Manuel Lozano looks very good, already 16 determination, good physicals and some technicals that we can work with. Doesn't seem too bad, has a good potential, so let's hope that this guy can perform and develop very well. And then also Colin Atkin, Egan, sorry, I'm not really expecting a lot of this guy. He could become top, he could become a drop. So let's just wait for this guy to develop. I quickly wanted to show you this guy, Andy Messi. I think we brought him in last season. We signed him from our youth intake. Very good guy, but as you can see physically he really improved. So what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to see if we can get an under 21s team so he can start playing in there, and that would also eventually help all the other players in our club to develop. In the last episode we left off at the 2-4 loss against West Brom, and after that things didn't go well either. We lost against Sheffield and Sunderland, which was a big shame. After that, winning against Swansea, Rotherham, but also losing against Bristol City and Middlesbrough, which meant that it was going to be very hard for us to either get into the promotion spots or into the playoff spots. Anyway, in the end, you'll see that we've won some, we've lost some, and we've even tied some, but all of that paid out very nicely, and let me show you why. Hey, 93.5% of you are not subscribed to my channel yet. Please do consider subscribing, as it really helps me out a ton and it keeps me motivated to make more awesome content. With that out of the way, let's move on to the video. Because as you can see, Bradford City have been promoted to the Premier League. Absolutely insane. We weren't champions. It was so close at the top of the table. As you can see, 7 teams, 4 points apart, which is absolutely insane, but we managed to claim it, beating Wolves, Middlesbrough, Leeds and Hull City to the promotion spots. And actually no players for us, we just got straight promoted, which means that this is the 3rd season in a row that I got promoted. That's absolutely insane. I'll show you how that looks like in the graph. Right here we're in the graph, and as you can see, we've been promoted from League 2 to League 1 as 3rd. Then we've been promoted from League 1 to the Championship as the 5th team. And then in the Championship we actually managed to come in 2nd. And what's even more insane about this is that in the season preview they have us on 23rd. So either we got insanely lucky, or buying players based on data and having a good tactic really helped us solidify our place in the Championship. As you can see, we started off pretty bad, but after that we actually almost never left the 2nd place, which is very good to see. Also, we weren't lucky, because if you look at the XG table, we actually should have finished 1st. Of course, XG doesn't really say a lot, but at least it shows us that we should have had 1st place a lot more, and that Sheffield United actually should have been placed 2nd. What's even more devastating is that Blackburn are in 14th, but based on XG they should have been 5th, so that really sucks. Anyway, out of the Championship, QPR, Swansea and Rotherham have been demoted. Swansea actually very surprising, because I think a couple seasons ago they were still in the Premier League, as you can see right here. For a couple of seasons they have been demoted in 18 to the Championship, and now they've actually gone down once again. Let me sim a little bit more forward so we see which team is going to join us in the Premier League. From the Premier League, Norwich, Ipswich and Southampton have been demoted, which it was very close with Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Leicester and Burnley here. Maybe also Nottingham Forest, which is interesting to see. Of course, since we're joining Premier League, we also have an insane transfer budget of 32 million, which I'm going to try to spend evenly, because if we want to stay in the Premier League, we really need a lot more players from the Premier League caliber. Something else that we also need is better facilities. As you can see, we need to increase our youth level. We need to also see if we can increase our junior scouting, and also we don't even have an under 21s team yet, so I really would like to get that going. Maybe we can also ask for a new contract, and of course I'm gonna need so much more stuff, because as you can see currently we're not even the best in this Championship. We're very bad when it comes to recruitment, and medical stuff is quite okay, because I always make sure that I have the best physios. So a lot of upgrades. Let me sim just a little bit forward to see which team is going to join us in the Premier League, and then already start seeing what kind of players we can bring in for the life in the Premier League. First thing that we made sure we did is to buy the University of Bradford Stadium where we're currently playing in. So in 2027, all of the income from all the games will be ours, which will mean a lot more money coming in. Next thing the game is doing for us is giving us more sponsor deals, of course, because we get more known in the world of football. So 6 new deals for 800k per year, which is pretty nice. That changes to the stadium tickets. As you can see, average ticket price gone up by 33%, but we're earning less, and that's probably because there's only 20 teams in the Premier League and 24 in the Championship. The third thing we did is improve our youth recruitment, which means that right now we do have a better chance to get in talented youngsters. The season has officially ended. We don't know yet who actually got promoted with us, but let's just take a look at the new arrivals. Of course, Mark Helm brought him in on a very expensive fee at the time, but 17 goals and 17 assists means he really pulled his weight for that transfer fee. Other than that, I expected more of Guillermo Montoya. Unfortunately, he didn't really perform, and neither goes for Rodrigo Muniz, but hey, you can't have it every way you like. As we can see here, I think Middlesbrough have actually been promoted with us, so that is very good to see. Of course, a B+. I've been promoted when I expected to be demoted, and they only give me a B+. Very interesting. Anyway, biggest win in the Carabao Cup against Forest Green. Yeah, that makes sense. Match to remember, 4-2 apparently over Blackburn. Good to see. Now, finance-wise, we already looked at this. We've got a couple more deals. Our club reputation is still only national. But as you can see, everything is going up, which is very good, because next season we're going to be earning a lot more. Then as we lined up, I expected more from Jack Phil in that position. Also Montoya. Sharing is really not good enough for the Premier League, so probably gonna have to let him go. And Kavanagh, I hope I can sell him on for a nice price, because 18 million for a player like this is really good money. Then the accolades, as you can see, Harry Boyce playing very well. 18 assists, which is good to see. And of course, Luca Fletcher, who we loaned from Man City back in the day. He was our youngest goal scorer. History in the making, as you can see, third promotion. Jake Jacobson achieved the third promotion of his career, and also the third one in a row, which is absolutely insane. The promotion was absolutely crazy. Take a look at this salary spent per annum. Hull is in 8th. Wolves are in 1st, Middlesbrough are in 7th, and Leeds are in 3rd. So let's take a look at the promotion playoffs. As you can see, Hull actually beat Wolves 4-2, Leeds beat Middlesbrough 2-1 on penalties, which was very interesting. So we were having Hull versus Leeds in the final. So let's take a look at that final. Hull beat Leeds on penalties, so Hull didn't even have the biggest transfer budget, so Wolves and Leeds are still staying in on such high wage budgets. They're either gonna have to release a lot of players or get rid of them, because I don't think they can really make sure that they can keep their finances right if they keep those players on high wages. Just to give you a little insight on that, as you can see, for the Wolves you have players who are on 100k a week, Nelson Semedo, but also if you take a look at our team, the biggest high paid player is Mark Helm on 14.5k. That's not even a lot. Ousmane K, as you can see, I think Semedo earns more than almost all of my first team players combined, because currently we are paying 178k per week. So Semedo, 2 Semedos are earning more than my whole team, which is absolutely insane. It doesn't matter, we made it to the Premier League, so now I'll be starting to make some signings. Last thing I wanted to show you is that I've also continuously asked for more staff, and eventually we've got it. We've got 1 more coach, 2 more performance analysts, 1 more scout and recruitment analyst, and also 1 more physio. But of course, when the option appears here, I'm going to be asking for it, because I do want to make sure that we can have the most staff possible, because it will really help us to stay in the Premier League next season. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. In the next episode, I'll be making some more signings based on data, so make sure to tune in. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and tell me what kind of challenges I should do in Football Manager, and I'll see if it's plausible. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and tune in for the next episode where we're preparing for life in the Premier League. That was a big roller coaster. I do hope you've enjoyed watching me go from League 2 to the Premier League just in 3 seasons. If you also want to try to do the same as I did, go ahead and click the link in the description and it will lead you to the video where I show you how to get the best tactics in Football Manager 24 and also how you can start playing Football Manager based on data. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed and I hope to see you in any of my other videos where I do more of these challenges. Take care.